See, millennials and Gen Z in particular, you're children of the internet. You're children of social media. Come on. And Facebook recognizes 51, first it was 51, and now I hear it's 72 genders. 72 different genders. How do you get 72 or 51 genders?
That's right.
Out of man and woman? That's right. But Satan has successfully done so, at least in the mind of millennials and Gen Z.
That's right. Say it. Man.
So, more than half of Gen Z refuse to recognize male and female as the only option available to them. This culture hates gender binary, the gender binary that God himself created.
Listen. That's right.
Oh mankind,
That's real.
fear your Lord.
Come on, man.
Who created you from a single soul and created from it its mate, and from it dispersed many men and women. From them dispersed many men and women. From a single soul a mate was produced, and from these two, men and women, God is the author of gender binary.
Yes, sir.
And the job, Satan's trick, his magic trick, is convincing the world that no, there aren't two genders as God created. There's 51 genders.
Imagine. Wow.
That you can take your pick.
Man, come on.
Do you know the divine history behind that verse? O mankind, fear your Lord, who created you from a single soul and created from it its mate. Do you know the divine history alluded to in this verse from the Holy Quran? Slide, please. Oh, that's beautiful. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the history alluded to in that Quranic verse. How came the black God, Mr. Muhammad? The black God came from triple darkness.
That's right. That's right.
An unformed, unshaped, unutilized dark matter, but in it an atom spark.
That's right.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that atom is spark in space. It was the first life germ, and it had some measure of intelligence in it. That primordial atom, that initial atom, initially self-evolved the first brain cell, and subsequently the divine brain was the first anatomical structure to develop. His brain power was limitless, and with it he, God, wielded the full divine human form into existence. From atom to atom, Allah, the original man.
Go ahead, teach.
That black God that emerged from black space. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says this. Listen to his words. He says, our first father, whom designed himself. He said, think over that. Think over a man, God. Come on. A man. Think over a man being able to design his own womb. And he had never seen another man before he saw himself. He said, this is a powerful thing. That was the emergence of the first monotheism. One God. That was the beginning of monotheism because there was only one God. Come on. That one God was the black God, the first man. And that is the Quran's single soul.
That's right.
From which many men and women sprang. But only after that single soul produced its mate. How did that happen? What's the process by which we departed strict monotheism? Because I have to say, family, I know we like to talk monotheism. But monotheism, in the strict sense, one God, that existed in the very beginning, but it did not exist too long.
That's right. Come on.
Because once you have more than one God, you ain't got strict monotheism no more. Now I ain't a Christian since, oh, y'all think I'm being blasphemous. Well, you got to understand you're Islam. I'm being Islam. And I'm hoping to remind some of us, to introduce to some, to remind to others, Islam. Because there's some amalgamating. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's some amalgamating. There's some hybridizing going on. Y'all understand what that is? There's some hybridizing going on. There's some hybrid Islam. Come on, so I'm hoping, brother of mine, to introduce to some and remind to others Islam to help disentangle. How did that happen? How did the single soul produce its mate? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that, you know, the reason strict monotheism wasn't really sustainable, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, after the black God, that man God, after he created himself, the first feeling he felt was that of loneliness.
Right. That's right.
See, that's why monotheism had to evolve. God was lonely. He was alone. Right. Yes. Say Allah was one, but he was lonely. Come on. Amen. Yes, divine wisdom in that. You got ears to hear. That's right. And his first desire was to reproduce himself.
Yes, sir.
So the one God, the black God, who self-evolved his own form, such a powerful thing, he studied himself and found a second self within him, that X chromosome. He brought it out and gave it expression, gave it form. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he, Allah, wanted a different human being than himself. So he studied himself.
That's right.
He made a woman by studying himself. He made a woman secondly. So this solved his problem of a search for another man. The God produced woman. And in producing the first woman, monotheism was broken. Because in producing the first woman, he produced another God.
Right.
Yes, sir. That's right.
The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's woman who is the second self. And he said man is the first self. She is the second self of God. There is no woman in the world that is even of the nature of the black woman.
Think over that one.
He is the first self of God. There is no universe that equals his potential.
Right.
Your potential. Now, you may say, the black Muslims think the black man is Superman or something. Well, since you mentioned it, since you mentioned it, an interesting article in Forbes magazine. Science says Superman should be black. Now, I'm a comic kid. I was a comic kid. I'm in the comics. I was never in the DC. I'm in the Marvel, but Superman, of course, is the archetypal superhero. But according to science, Superman should be black. Why? Superman, his cells drink in the sun's radiation, strengthening his muscles, his skin, his senses. Superman is powered by light. And his cells carry out a photosynthetic process. He's from Krypton. And his species of Kryptonians, they are a photosynthetic species. Plants engage in photosynthesis, taking light and converting it into metabolic energy. That's photosynthesis. The Kryptonians were a species that engaged in photosynthesis. They drew light from the sun and their cells drank the light and used the light. They were powered by the light, and according to Forbes, the type of star that served Krypton, the red dwarf or red giant star that's cool and dim, according to Forbes, the science says Kryptonians would need dark pigment to harvest that light.
That's right.
Superman's cells would need dark pigment to absorb sunlight. Now, in the most realist, most scientific sense, that is you.
That's right.
Not because Forbes suggested it, slide please, but because science now proves it. We disclosed in our lecture, Who is God? The testimony of science, from Mas Mariam up until 2002. It was believed that only plant life engaged in photosynthesis. Plant life and Kryptonians, but on Earth, the highest level of being is plant life. that engages in photosynthesis. But in 2002, that error was rectified. Mexican scientists discovered a previously unknown chemical reaction that takes place when the melanin molecule, the black god molecule, the thing that makes us black, externally and internally. They discovered that when melanin is stimulated by light in the presence of water, it undergoes a particular chemical reaction that involves splitting the water into its gaseous components, hydrogen and oxygen, and then nanoseconds reassembling the water, but in the process releasing both chemical energy and electricity. What was discovered is that melanated tissue engages in helping melanated tissues.
Right.
Healthy, non-poison, non-toxified, melanated tissue engages in photosynthesis, not like the plants do. Plants use chlorophyll, the pigment, but chlorophyll, plants can only photosynthesize at night. During the day, because chlorophyll can only use a small part of the spectrum of light. But the human chlorophyll, the super chlorophyll, the black god molecule, the melanin pigment, uses the whole spectrum of light, so can photosynthesize both in the day and at night. See, that's Superman for real. Go ahead. The black man is Superman in her natural state. Our nature is as the true so-called sun people of the earth. We are divine light, clothed in a divinely created black garment. A garment made of black carpet and accessorized by divine black metal. God is light, the scriptures tell us, and the black man and woman are the ultimate bioelectric organisms. In our natural state, we are the most light absorbent, light efficient, and energy producing being on the planet.
Go ahead. That's right.
But we suffer the fall.
That's right.
We suffer the fall. So such talk could only be in the context of potentiality. First we fell asleep, and then while asleep we were murdered. Ergo, the carcass that so preoccupied the Son of Man that he would leave his throne and his robes and his family
Go ahead.
to travel 9,000 miles west. The result of the fall is that, and the result of the murder is that while we are gods by nature, we are devils by manufacture.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's right. That's right.
See, that part, in terms of the dictates of the time, that part is as important, and some days may be more important as the other part, by which I mean today, devils by manufacture is more urgent than gods by nature. Because until we understand and undo devils by manufacture, we will never recover our nature as God, but we have to recognize that fact. Devils, by manufacture, you thought you came to the house of the white man as the devil. You comfortable with the white man is the devil. You're not too comfortable with, I'm a devil.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Speak the truth, brother. Like that.
The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, Satan made us into himself. Wait.
That's right.
We reflect the evil of the wickedness of Satan. He said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, said he has made us like himself, and the only difference in us and the white man is just the color.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Manufactured as devil.